Travel nursing can bring you to places you've never been before. Tell us your story.
Hey, good morning. It's Rita at the Travel Nurse Channel. And today is actually Wednesday, the 29th of September. Happy Wednesday. And I'm here because yesterday I broadcasted and wanted to talk about this group, because I always sort of say, oh, we're here for nurses and therapists and doctors and so forth. But I actually wanted to highlight a list of about 15 areas in healthcare where you can travel. If you love to travel, this list is for you. And we started yesterday, and I apologize, I have an injury. Here we go. I have a stress fracture in my hip, and so I'm dealing with physical therapy, occupational therapy, and resting, which is so hard. If you all are working, you know we're busy people, and we move and we go and we wear many hats. It's very, very difficult to adjust when your body says stop, rest, rehabilitate. And that's been sort of my mantra for the last 2 years. I had a wrist fracture. That's doing great. That was exactly a year ago. And now a hip fracture. So, you know, white hair. Anyway, we will get through. We will get past this. So I'm sitting down. When I'm done with the video, I'll do my physical therapy exercises. Then I'll ice. And maybe, you know, in an hour or so, I can hobble around and make a meal. All right. So this topic is near and dear to me. Travel nurses, per diem travel, locum tenens. I think it's just such a beautiful opportunity in healthcare. We do wondrous things. We're ever evolving. We're practitioners. And the travel industry is not going away. It's growing by leaps and bounds. And yesterday, I started with 5. I put 1 on each card. However, all my cards need, all my dry erase boards need a little cleaning. So I jam-packed 15 into 5 cards. And yesterday we talked about who travels, who's at the top of the hit list: nurses, transcribers, and transcribers are absolutely necessary, because if it doesn't get charted, if it doesn't get written, it didn't happen. And doctors are seeing multiple patients a day. I was talking about my time in interventional radiology, and the radiologists and the interventional radiologists, they are, what did I call them? The nervous system of the hospital, because the intensivist and the hospitalist and many, many doctors interact with the radiologist on diagnosis and treatment for their patients by using the things that radiologists use, fluoroscopy and CAT scans and MRIs. So they need the transcribers. And therapists, absolutely, that's a large group. That's physical therapy, that's occupational therapy, that's psychiatric therapy, that's all kinds of therapists and their assistants. The PT is the physical therapist, and the PTA is the physical therapy assistant. Very knowledgeable people, very studied people. The occupational therapists have the CODAs, certified occupational therapy assistants. So it goes on and on. That's another huge group. MDs, locum tenens. And we talked about the Latin meaning of that. What is the Latin meaning of that? I don't want to err. Locum tenens, locum tenens. That stands for, oh, come on. Okay, to hold the place of. That's a Latin term, locum tenens, to hold the place of. So for example, if an ER doctor or a hospitalist, or, you know, we're human too, we have to take time off, we have an injury, whatever, there's a budget for it, and they bring in a locum tenens, so they bring in an ER doctor. And those assignments are traditionally 6 months, a year, and so forth. And they're utilized throughout hospitals, healthcare systems, etc. And great way to travel if you're in a cold Minnesota winter and Canada, lots of cold places in Canada, and you want to have some sunshine. There's Florida, there's California, there's a lot of the southern states. So think about that if you want to travel, MDs out there. And I know teams of husband and wife doctor teams that have done so. And a lot of these locum tenens wind up into relocations. Maybe you lived a state away. Maybe you lived in Ohio and you decided to visit Pennsylvania, or maybe you lived in Alabama and you decided to visit Texas, or so many places. Phoenix, Arizona, lovely, lovely places. You're used to one kind of lifestyle, and then you go to a desert lifestyle, or you're in a cold lifestyle and you go to a warm lifestyle. So locum tenens gives you a real opportunity to investigate areas as well as travel and have fun and do the work you do so well. And then I got to representatives, sales device representatives. Those healthcare workers do travel. When I was in interventional radiology, we saw them regularly, more than once a week, when they were either updating our machinery or bringing in new tubes and needles and special medical equipment. These sales device reps were fantastic. They were always fresh and energetic and knew their product and were very helpful. So there's the top 5. That's not really in necessarily order of who's being utilized more. There are travel assignments for all. But I want to continue with the list because I chat, and then I don't want to get cut off. I want you to get the information. So that was first 5. Let's go into the next 5. So 6 through 10. I'm sorry I'm having to squish it into a board. I do need to clean my boards. That's on my agenda today. And that's a sedentary task that I can do while my hip heals. Okay, reps, representatives. So pharmaceutical representatives travel. How exciting. How exciting. And these jobs can be national and international. So let me tell you what I learned a little bit about pharmaceutical representatives. They're similar to the medical sales device people. Oh gosh, touching my face again. I'm in a dry climate and I'm always dry. So where's my hand sanitizer? Oh, it's been moved. I promise you I'll wash my hands. I'm just home alone with the dogs today. So, okay, so pharmaceutical sales reps travel across the country at various healthcare facilities. They go to clinics, they go to hospitals, and they meet the rising need of the pharmaceuticals out there. You can imagine with the COVID and the vaccines, that's gone up. They help educate differences from existing products to the updated products or the new products in their lineup. They improve patient care by doing this and providing this training and the service and the ability to get the meds, which that has been a stressor, I think, too, with the workforce breaking down and everything you order, from aspirin to patio furniture to shoes and socks, whatever, everything has slowed down because the workforce has slowed down, and the truck drivers and the production and the manufacturing, everything. So that sales rep for the pharmaceutical would be super helpful and give you some of the ins and outs of what's being produced and when you can get it and so forth. Their task, sales, learning all there is to know about each drug. It includes chemistry, makeup, method of action, and so forth. They're one of the most engaging careers, they say, due to the fact that there are constantly new drug innovations that help patients improve their care and return to their normal routine even quicker. So great, great healthcare job for people that want to travel. Okay, and then 7, military. I mean, that would be a huge career change, but Army and Navy Army, huge medical needs, healthcare worker needs, nurses and doctors and PAs and NPs and LVNs, etc. The travel there is considerable. It's worldwide, and there are more than 30 medical careers in emergency careers and jobs available if you want to join the military as a healthcare worker. And if you have previous experience, or if you don't, it's okay. I recommend, if that really interests you, to call a recruiter. Call a military recruiter and find out more about it. Call the Army, the Navy, or the Marines and tell them that you have decided to go this course, and their enlistment has bonuses. It's exciting. It's exciting for those that really want to serve and really have that interest in healthcare. And I want to tell you, all the years that I had my nursing agency, and even the years before that, when I was a per diem nurse for staffing companies, I met great nurses that would work part-time. They were still military, the ones that I met, and they would get permission from their officer managers. I call everybody sir, because I don't want to mess up on a title, but the military nurses were fabulous nurses, and I really was thrilled. There were about a handful of them that I got to know when I was clinically working myself in hospitals, and then when I started my agency and hired them. They were so well versed. They were lieutenants, most of them. I worked with a commander at one point. They could work in the ER. They could set up their own OR. They could work in the ICU, and then they could turn around and do geri care. And their knowledge and their compassion and their skill, 10. If the highest number is 10, these were 10 people. So military, great idea. Let me go through my list so I don't have to keep picking it up. It seems to be adding a lot of shadows. So 6, we talked about pharmaceutical representatives can travel and have great careers traveling. The military has great opportunities, Army, Navy, Marines. I think Marines share the Navy healthcare. But again, under military are all these 15 careers. So it's not just nursing. All right. A healthcare consultant, that's a business management person, really important people. Sports consultants, that's a large group. You might include some therapists in there. And then telemedicine, which I put the asterisk and the star there because one of the fastest growing right now. So we've got pharmaceutical representatives, military careers that travel, healthcare consultants, HC healthcare, sports consultants, and telemedicine. We're going to go through all of those. Opportunities. Again, this is Rita on the Travel Nurse channel, but yesterday and today I'm continuing on Wednesday, started Tuesday and had to cut it short because my physical therapist showed up, and sorry about the ums. I want to I often say this is for all these health cares, but I wanted to highlight some of them so the nurses and whoever's viewing knows what I'm talking about. Got to get a little picture of it. So we went through military. Now let's go through healthcare consultants. A great travel healthcare career for somebody that is savvy in business management. They could have expertise in various areas that bring them to this position, but they go to facilities, to clinics, to hospitals, to healthcare groups to help evaluate and improve revenue. That's huge. That's huge. How can you do a good job if you're not helping the hospital survive financially? And that is so difficult. We've all kind of have that at some point in our lives, unless we're born with the silver spoon, as they say. We have to make some money. We have to make some money. If you buy a house and use all your money and all of a sudden a door breaks down or the roof starts to leak, you have to make some money to keep your house in order, right? So anyway, so to increase revenue, to reduce costs, to improve patient care outcomes, which keeps a hospital alive. It's so important. We've talked about HCAHPS before. And it's a great way to travel is to become one of these wonderful healthcare consultants. Healthcare consultants are professionals. They have prior experience in specific regions, maybe. Maybe they've worked in the Midwest. Maybe they've worked in the Southwest. Maybe they've worked in the Northeast. And they take that business management, they take that expertise, and they go on the road with it. So pretty nice gig. And if that's your thing, hospitals, various situations, healthcare facilities, they are bogged down with the day-to-day, with all that they do, and yet they know. So for example, my mom lives in assisted living, and she has had the ownership change twice, because one was too big and they were doing a better in a different region and so forth. So they thought, you know, we can't pay enough to this one on the Western Seaboard, so we're going to go ahead and sell that one. They seem to be doing well, the people that are covering the Western Seaboard. So they probably brought in experts like I'm talking about, healthcare management consultants. So I think she's doing a lot better because I see the people in her facility. My mom is super independent. She's assisted living. She's paralyzed on her right side from a stroke 10 years ago. Never had any follow-up strokes. Cognitive almost throughout the whole thing, but a lot of physical disability. So for her safety, it really was the best move. And it was very difficult for her to give up her home because she likes to do for others and be busy. And like if I said, Mom, let's go climb this mountain, she'd say, okay, what are we going to wear? You know, that's who she was. And she was an active gal, dancing and swimming and loving her kids and her grandkids. But the time came for safety to get her where someone could be checking on her more frequently. But she does everything pretty independently. What I notice now with this latest ownership of her facility is that there's more attention. She's getting they're a little more attentive. We brought her out with my husband's help last Sunday to a little birthday party for an 8-year-old that she had held as a newborn 8 years ago. And delightful little child, just my friend's little grandbaby. Anyway, we brought her out in the afternoon, and by the time the party ended and we were traveling and we decided to get an ice cream on the way home, they called and they said, where is she and when will she be back and how is she doing? It was wonderful. And I said, she's safe and sound. She's in the car. We'll have some ice cream and be there in 20 minutes. So that, to me, however that came about, the new ownership either used a healthcare consultant or utilized it along the way of their growth because they were a smaller company. They're pretty local in Southern California, maybe mid-California, and maybe another state, maybe Washington. And anyway, there you go. There's another healthcare job career that may be for you. And if you like to travel, there you go. And I don't know, for nurses, typically a travel assignment is 13 weeks. That's a basic travel assignment. It varies. Sometimes it's 6 months. Sometimes it's more. Sometimes it's less if there's a fast, quick, immediate need. But this one's great. They might bring you in, say, for a month. You know, come evaluate. You might go back and forth. Or they might bring you in for long-term to visit various facilities and work on the bigger group. So it's a considerable amount of time a healthcare consultant needs, and they have important questions to help the people. They have important questions to ask, personal questions to ask. They evaluate, and it'll be really, I think, a super exciting career to travel and do so much good. So there's that, the healthcare consultant. 9, sports consultants. We love our sports. Americans, people love their sports. I love children's sports. My favorite. I love watching children do anything. Gymnastics, baseball. As a matter of fact, I think about some of those things, either the kids or even the national teams and the college teams, as I am doing this, as I am living through my fracture. When you see somebody playing baseball or football and they come off the field, how many times do you see them with an ice pack or something around their neck or something around their back or legs or foot? Yeah, we really need to take care of our muscles and bones and the stressors we put them onto. So if you are a sports medicine consultant, you could be a doctor, you could be a physical therapist. What else could you be? You could be the potential occupations there: athletic trainers, nutritionist, dietary, even just a really strong athlete in a certain genre. Oh, you see my blister? This is what happens when you use crutches. Now I finally got my gloves out. Yeah, they'll go to any expense in athletics and sports to get a good sports consultant, sports medicine consultant, a professional that will typically fly and treat the athletes. So just a huge, huge thing. They might bring you in for a short time, they might bring you in for a long time, but they'll bring you in and they'll pay you well. So sports medicine consultants. I love that one too. Okay, so yeah, that could be a doctor, a therapist, athletic trainer, nutritionist, all these people. I know some people that are, like for baseball, I've met someone that did eye training because, these aren't, I need these to read and to see far and adjust and see well. My granddaughter already knows that when I take them off for a moment, she's like, put on your glasses. She's only 18 months old. But so there, yeah, break it down into specialties. Many, many sports medicine consultants, including eye therapy would be one as well. Okay, this one with the star, number 10. We're plotting through this pretty good. I'm proud of myself. Woohoo! Telemedicine. That one's been growing. That really, it's helped me during the pandemic to take care of family members and to take care of myself, get to my doctors and so forth. Increasingly, hospitals and clinics, healthcare companies, doctors' offices, they have found that this is one of the most innovative ways. Oh, and wellness. Wellness. My friend had a wellness business. It did not make it through the pandemic. She was a small business, and her beautiful business, it was called the Zenda, and she was a guest on the show many times. But telemedicine helped them for a bit. But yeah, the techniques of telemedicine are fabulous, and some have it well fine-tuned, and some are still working on it, but they need employees, they need travelers. Great way to travel. So many healthcare businesses are using telemedicine, and let's see, there are 4 segments of telemedicine as of this writing, which is like 2019. It includes live video conferencing. You can do that with your physician or your PA. Store and forward, as in asynchronous videos. Remote patient monitoring. Growing, nurses. Remote patient monitoring. Very, very helpful in rural areas as well. And mobile healthcare, which I think we need more of. I really do. I really do think we need mobile. You're thinking mobile healthcare, you're thinking of ambulances and so forth. But I'm also thinking of going on the road and getting vaccinated and helping people, evaluating people. They don't know, is it time for me to go to the hospital? Do I have COVID? So you have mobile healthcare out there, which I really don't think there's enough of. And I'm not even to touch what's going on in different countries. They're so needy. Healthcare travelers, we need you. We need you. And if you want to travel and see new places, I commend it. I recommend it, and it's needed. Okay, what else can I say about telemedicine jobs? They're going to continue to grow in importance over time. They are. That has been shown in the last 3 or more years. The patient need for care in new, innovative ways in hospitals, in healthcare facilities, in rural areas. They cannot get it typically the way we did it in the old days. Doctors rarely visit the home. There's some concierge doctors that do, but you need more than that. You need the team, right? You need the nurses and the therapists. And care outside the hospital is consistently going up and needed. And so big growth, ongoing growth in telemedicine for a variety of healthcare workers. So there you go. It's been around, but it is really growing by leaps and bounds. It used to happen like on a hospital, on a phone. You call the healthcare line and you get a nurse, or you call the doctor's office and you get the medical assistant and you get some care that you might need, a prescription and a question answered, an appointment to speak to the doctor. But telemedicine goes beyond. They actually can watch you in your home. They can teach you on your equipment. They can do so many things, so many things. Okay, other areas. Some include nurses, some don't, but let's get through the last 5. Oh, by the way, shoot, did I open my comment line? Shame on me. This is live, folks. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and these videos are archived for anybody that wants to check in anytime. If you want to be a guest on the show, or you just want to chat with me, if you're in any of these 15 areas that we're discussing, please, please, please consider coming on and sharing, because I have a piece of the story, but you have inside looks. If you're doing it, if you have worked in telemedicine, if you have worked as a healthcare consultant, if you have worked as a pharmaceutical representative, et cetera, if you have worked as a travel nurse, a therapist, etc. There's just such a broad group of healthcare professionals and workers that can travel and fulfill that need to do your job and to go to new places that you may not have gone to before. I mean, I lived on the East Coast and barely made it to some other beautiful states near me. I lived in the state of New York. I've been to Pennsylvania, Florida, Georgia, just touched on Maine and Connecticut and New Jersey. Huge, beautiful states with lakes and coasts and flavors and cultures. A little bit in the middle, California, vacation in Hawaii. But we've got 50 states, folks, and they need you. All right, with my list, let's chomp through this list so I don't bore you to death. IT, huge, it's been around for a while. You can travel, IT people. Writers, medical writers, nurses are in that group. Home healthcare, they travel too, and various levels and various specialties. Social work, another giant group. And then 15, we'll get to that, associations. And I put non-governmental, that's my little note that fit on my card. But I'll talk to you about associations. That's another really super fulfilling area of healthcare that requires travel. And if you love to travel, then you have a career there. So we'll go to the IT first. Those guys and gals. How do we live without them? Because we can't live without technology. So you need the specialists. So technology today provides opportunities for today for those that want to travel, especially individuals that are looking into the technology side of patient care. Telemetry for one, computers for another, devices galore. And some nurses actually became IT specialists. Well, that's like the perfect wedding there between the RN and the IT. And at the university hospital that I serviced for quite a while as a nurse manager, I was so impressed with that gal. So she was one of a couple of IT specialists at the hospital, but she was one of the few that was also an RN with potentially, she might have had a MS on her RN as well. But this emerging field of technologies has plenty of healthcare information positions that can be done either remotely or that you can travel to. So say, for example, there's a need at an organization like Loma Linda in California, or National Institute of Health on the East Coast. They probably have more than one facility using various IT technologies. So they might set you up, bring you in, travel you in, give you some good money, bonuses, etc., and say, this is what we need. Can you work on it? It's going to take 6 months. We really need help getting this all secured and connected, and blah, blah, blah. And maybe even bring in a team yourself. So, man, technology jobs, wave of the future. My husband uses technology people all over the world for different specific little things for his work, his websites, his things that he does. So someone helped me with this, with setting this up. Somebody from Bangladesh that checks in from time to time. Gollum, haven't seen you in a while. You must be busy. And then some, sorry for my ums. I'm trying to get rid of them. But I'm just going to leave it there. IT, healthcare, many, many travel jobs. There you go. The next one is writers. And I have actually been talking to some nurse writers. I'm hoping that I can get them to come and join me and speak to you about what inspires them and where they've been and how they got there, and at what point in their career they decided to start writing. Maybe always, maybe they were freelancing, maybe they were a writer before they were a nurse. But also writers, healthcare professionals can help share their healthcare and hospital experiences through digital mediums, articles, blogs, magazines, and other publications. They are becoming, because of what they do and the inspiration they provide and stuff, they can be invited to many places to guest speak, to spend time, to share their knowledge, to benefit other members of the healthcare team. So another travel job is for the healthcare writer. And it's not, I speak about nurses, but I'm talking about nurses, psychologists, psychiatrists, MDs, so many people, therapists. It's a great way to showcase your knowledge, to share your valuable experience with others, and enjoy your passion for traveling at the same time. Who knew? Who knew? And you know, I love writing, but I'm not a writer. You know, I still do handwritten notes. I still inscribe every book or every photo I send to someone, and I love it when others do that. It's an old art, and I've done a little bit. You may see me on the Travel Nurse channel jotting something down around a holiday or the nurse, Nurses Week or something. I might get inspired to say something or share something, but I just don't spend enough time writing. But maybe if I did, I could travel. I could get on the road with that. Okay, that's writers. We're going to talk now about home health care workers. That's number 13 on my list. And there is such a strong need for home health care providers. I am actually taking advantage of a home health service through my provider for my silly stress fracture. Silly and painful, but I'm being a good patient, and I don't sit too much, I don't stand too much, and I don't do anything the physical therapist told me not to do. So I hope to heal. I should heal. I've been told I will heal. It just takes time because I am not 17. I am 67. Okay, so the healthcare traveler jobs out there start with CNAs and go on up to physicians. Many, many, many jobs to consider in home healthcare, and case managers and physicians, because we need the workers. There's such a drop in workers at this point in time with the pandemic, It's just, I mean, one door closes and another one opens. So resident doctors and medical students and nurses, nursing students, doors have opened up that were currently closed due to credentialing and licensure and so forth. Things have been sped up and opened up. And so there's the silver lining. We're down on the healthcare workers, down in numbers, but doors are opening up for others to fill in the blanks. I'm wondering too if military will get more involved where a lot of workers are needed, that we're lacking in and so forth. Because those military people, boy, they just can do anything. Okay, healthcare aides can drop by on patients, home health aides, nurses. It's just home health is needy in every aspect. So that gives you the opportunity to travel. That would probably be 13 weeks. It could be more, could be less. It's a unique opportunity to develop your skill if that's something you do. You build relationships because when you go into the home, usually taking care of maybe one person, sometimes a couple, a family, but you really build relationships that way. In the hospital, you may have multiple patients. You may transfer from one floor to the other. So you do what you can in a short amount of time. But with home health care, you go back and repeat the visit and you build a relationship. And it's very, very special. And hospice is in that group. And my friend who did the wellness business actually is doing hospice and really, really enjoying it. And she's doing it close to home. But that is another area for travel. So you get to fulfill that passion for traveling while doing your job. It's such a win-win. Okay, after this is sort of the next step. It's a kind of relative thing, but social work and licensed clinical social workers and their assistants, that's another healthcare job where travel can be a possibility for you. And there are plenty of travel-based, remote-based. Again, we talk about telemedicine with that. Maybe going to a group, a hospital group, or a healthcare group, and doing the traveling to the state where it is or the city where it is, and providing your expertise to different sites. But they interact with patients and families, whether in the clinic setting or remotely, and they provide counseling, they provide guidance, they navigate difficult pathways, they understand treatment options. They're really masters. They're master's level. The social worker has been master's level trained for many, many years, and with the experience they get and going to either big cities or remote rural areas, they bring expertise from the skills they have in their social work. So huge, huge, wonderful, unique service that also travels, that can get travel assignments. Professional, great way to impact others. Yeah, social work. Who knew? Who knew social workers were traveling and are going to be needed to travel? We need more of them. Okay, now this one is the last one I'm going to touch on, and I'm sure there's more. This is my little research that I've done in the last couple of weeks. Associations, non-governmental associations. And I actually know some doctors and nurses that have done this, and they're wonderful. And they appreciated the opportunity. They repeated the opportunity. They were involved in healthcare at the doctor level, the nurse level, at the volunteer level, at the administrative level, at the construction level. So related healthcare work in a community can include different talents. And so the people that I've met that did things like this, associations, I'll give you an example. The Doctors Without Borders is one. There's many. There's so many. I know people that have gone down to Guatemala and revamped communities by giving them stoves, because the elderly, the kids, they're all packed into these little huts and they're inhaling terrible smoke because they don't have a decent cooking stove. So they'd install stoves, they'd install water, they do clinics, they just, oh my goodness, associations is a great opportunity and a positive way to experience travel and to not just go to rural parts of the United States, but to go to cross borders. Doctors Without Borders, right? Dental care, nursing care, social work, construction work. It's huge, and there is usually some travel money involved. This is private. Many of these are privately funded, but I'm sure if you investigate and you know, I love volunteering, but I need to pay the bills as well. So these are jobs that can be paying jobs. They certainly are rewarding jobs, and some of them can be volunteer jobs. For example, when Haiti was in, well, Haiti, we are in trouble. Haiti is at the border, and it's just a big mess. I'm not going to get political. I don't see why we have so much food in the United States that we can't set up something to get them, you know, some tents and cover whatever they need, and some food and some temporary housing till the politics gets worked out. But when the blizzards and the pandemic and the tornadoes and hurricanes and floods and fires occur, Red Cross is one, Doctors Without Borders, volunteers are needed, specialists are needed, paying jobs are needed, and you get to travel. So why not? Why not? I conclude that traveling is a great opportunity for at least 15 that I could come up with a minimal amount of research. And I commend you all. I am talking too much, so I'm going to sign off. But I just want to tell you, it's a live broadcast on the Travel Nurse channel. I hope to have guests for you from all these different fields to enlighten you on different things that are out there, how that you can be helped, whether it be financially, with resources, with stories, with kudos, with sadness, with compassion, with passion. I think that you do something very unique, very special, something that's growing, and I hope that I can enlighten you on some things that maybe you didn't know about before. So I'll keep doing my research, and I'll keep showing up, and I'll bring you some guests. And if you want to be a sponsor, if you want to advertise on the Travel Nurse channel, you are welcome. You are very, very welcome. It's inexpensive. It's a great way to reach a lot of people. Thousands are checking in the Travel Nurse channel. And just call me, 800-737-6518, 800-737-6518 anytime. Don't worry. If I'm not getting to the phone quick, I'll get back to you. You can email me, rita@travelnursechannel.com, rita@travelnursechannel.com, or you could check in when we're live, which is mostly on Tuesdays. It happens to be Wednesday today because I had to continue the topic, the unfinished topic of Tuesday. But Tuesday's live from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Excuse me, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can check our archives and see what interests you, what you have questions or comments about. And I'm happy to talk to you anytime. And thank you for all that you do. I'm here. Oh boy, I don't know what I kicked or tapped or whatever. Let's blame it on my bum leg. Okay, so I'm saying goodbye. I'll see you next week. Have a beautiful week. And here's my friend on her sidecar. Yay, nurses.
Travel nursing can bring you to places you've never been before. Tell us your story.